I stole it with my key, dude. Now if And welcome gamers, how's it going? It's CLIQUE here with another episode. And from the title of this video, you already know what we're going to discuss. 5 important things that you can do to improve your Braum game. This is coming from a Braum main myself. Now, not only these tips are going to help you become a better player, but also hopefully a better support player in general. Now, these are things you can apply to other supports, but I'll be discussing mainly regarding Braum. Now, 2 of these tips that I'm going to talk about are more general, like I said, but the rest of them only apply to Braum. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Also, one quick announcement: if you guys haven't subscribed yet already, hit that subscribe button, help out your boy. I do stream on Twitch daily, every day, so you can catch me there. All you have to type in is CLIQUE. Enough about that. Let's jump right into the video with tip number 1. And tip number 1 is roam if the AD carry is not doing good in lane. Now, you don't want to probably hear this a lot, or you haven't heard this a lot, but if you're playing in the low elo, let's say silver and lower, then if your AD carry is not performing, chances are that you're going to lose that game. In order to perform the best with Braum, you do have to help out lanes that are doing well. So if your AD carry in this case is doing bad, then you need to find another lane that's doing good. Let's say mid. You go through the jungle, you might want to gank mid or just roam for some picks. Now, if that works out, great. If it doesn't work out, well, you took your chance. I mean, if you would have stayed in lane, you probably would have lost, the laning phase, and in turn your AD carry would fall behind, you would fall behind, and your team would not further advance into the category of winning. It's mostly, this game is centered around winning lanes and early objectives nowadays. So yeah, tip number 1, roam if the AD carry is not doing well in lane. Number 2, now use W on yourself. Now, what do I mean by W on yourself? Now, when you have a frontliner, sure, use your W on the front line. Let's say it's a Sion, it could be a Seth, it could be a Darius. If you have a top laner who's a tank and they're frontlining, use your W on them. Or you could even use your W on AD carry. But let's say you're getting dived and there's no frontline. In that case, use your W on yourself. And that's an important tip that I want to discuss, because I feel like not a lot of Braum players know this or not do this a lot. When you're alone, you can use W on yourself. When you are getting dived, you could use W on yourself. Let's say the enemy team sends 3 laners, the bot lane and the mid lane, they're diving you, and you could actually survive that dive and even might get a kill in that case. So tip number 2, take this with a grain of salt. Use W on yourself when you are getting dived or when you don't have a front line. So now moving on to tip number 3, and this is very important as the first 2 tips. It's basically can be applied to multiple champions. This is not Braum specific, but basically look at your last 10 to 35 games to observe a pattern. And there's many patterns you can observe, especially looking at the map on where you died the most. Was it bot lane? Was it mid? Was it in the jungle? Looking at where you died the most can certainly show you a certain pattern that you have. If you're getting caught out in the jungle without having any vision, that should tell you that next time, get some control wards, get some more control in the jungle side where you have vision and your enemies are not getting you in the fog of war, to say, and you're getting caught. Or mainly look at another pattern you can observe is the gold difference. Where is it where there's this chart of gold is dipping or going down, or where you guys are losing your lead basically, and was it a problem that you attributed to, or could you have simply avoided that with any Braum plays? This is important as it goes to any champion. I do this like every week. I look at back if I'm playing Galio, let's say, or Echo. You can catch me on my stream playing those 2 champions more often. Lately I haven't been playing a lot of Braum, but what I do is I look at the last games and I'll be like, this is interesting. I've been dying a lot in bot lane. I should maybe do something about my bot lane roams when I'm playing mid. So little things like this can go a long way, especially when playing support. There's a lot of components that go into getting vision, and mainly all you want to do is get control ward and sweeping for your second backs or even first back. I highly suggest that. Now, moving on to tip number 4, right? And this also applies to many other champions and just League of Legends in general, which is to take a break between games. Every 20 minutes is suggested to take a break from doing something highly concentrated. If your focus is given in that 20 minutes, it drifts off after that certain point. So let's say after every game you take a small break. Now this is not just any break. You should take 5 minutes doing something you want, something that is enjoyable to you. Now I know League is enjoyable, but you have to find something else, some other game that you can play for 5 minutes. What I would do is go back on Apex, or let's say Among Us, or anyway, any other games. You get my drift. So what you want to do is, like, after 20 minutes, take a break and do something you enjoy. That way your mind, when it comes back to the game, you're fully focused and your attention is not drifting. You're 100% there. And this is like done psychology test on it, and I read it, so I don't know if you guys want to believe me, but try this and it helps a ton. And lastly guys, tip number 5 is to familiarize yourself with the current meta. Now what that means is to know which champions Braum goes well against and which champions he falls short against. For example, for me, I always ban out Senna. If you've stumbled upon my streams, or you could watch my streams, I always ban out Senna no matter what. Even if I'm not playing support Braum, I just think that champion is busted. But also Zyra is also bad pick against, I mean, you're not gonna win that game if you go against Zyra and Senna, and sometimes even Sona can be problematic. So guys, familiarize yourself with the current meta. You could watch LCS, pro players play your favorite champions. For example, on top of my head, I can think of Evil Genius's Zazel and Huhi. I think he's from, I don't know what he's team from. I forgot which team, but he plays a Braum too. So 2 Braum players who are currently in the LCS. You could find their games from last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm sure you can familiarize, like, you see what patterns they're playing. What are they building, where are they going, how are they roaming. Those little things goes a long way to learn from the best. And that's the best advice I could give you guys. And tip number 5 to conclude this video. Hope you guys had a good day and enjoyed watching this video. And with that being said, it's been my pleasure. Proof Click here, signing out.